Rev up your engines!
Well, this is the last year for the Toyota Camry. Well, it's the last year for the Toyota Camry, only in Japan. Rather strange. Now, last year, Toyota sold 600,000 Camrys worldwide, but they only sold 6,000 in Japan. The Japanese are indeed becoming Americanized. They want SUVs. They don't want sedans anymore. They're kind of a generation behind the United States. Everyone started wanting SUVs a decade or so ago in the United States, and now that's catching up with the Japanese, you know, which I find kind of interesting because birth rate in Japan has dropped to the lowest it's ever been. For the first time that recorded history, I guess, they had less than 800,000 births. There's population is shrinking, yet they all want SUVs now. The Americans, well, we got to have them for our families. We need bigger, bigger, bigger. Well, I guess the Japanese are following the Americans and they want SUVs now. Now, in the United States, almost 300,000, 295,700 to be exact, Camrys were sold last year in the United States. So they're sure going to be selling them in the United States. But the Japanese, no, I guess they don't want sedans anymore. Since they made the Camry, they've sold over 21 million worldwide. So the rest of the world seems to like them, but the Japanese are snubbing on their own Camrys, preferring to be in SUVs. Now, here's something to think about in electric cars. They get big old batteries, most of them now, right? And most of them have a warranty of 100,000 miles, right? After that, it's your battery, your hassle. You got to buy another one for thousands of dollars and having it replaced, right? Now, could you imagine if you have your regular gasoline car, it gets 100,000 miles, and now you need a new engine? Well, actually, the price of those batteries is often even higher than the price of a new engine of a car. But even if they were the same cost, would you buy a car that after 100,000 miles, no more warranty, it's gone, the engine goes out, you got to pay for it? Well, with the battery technology, hey, that's what you're buying into. You're buying into something that's got a limited lifespan. And of course, the hilarious thing is they all give so many lies. Tesla got sued in Germany over the problems with some of their electric cars. And the German court said, okay, Tesla, you're going to have to buy back these cars from these people because of the problems they had, right? But there was a little disclaimer, and that was the Germans, who are totally anal about everything, said, well, you did use the car all those years, so we're going to prorate the value of the car. If you remember old Elon, he was saying, oh, my batteries will last 3, 4, 500,000 miles, right? But in the German court, the lawyers for Tesla said, well, the lifespan of these batteries is like 103,000 miles. So if your car's got more than 103,000 miles, you went through the lifespan of the car and it's not worth anything now. They try to play both ends to the middle, right? First telling you, oh, they're going to last 3, 4, 500,000 miles. But then they get in court and say, well, the lifespan of these things is a little over 100,000 miles. So too bad, it's not worth anything now. They keep trying different types of batteries, which who knows which ones will last, which ones won't last. And they're going with these iron phosphate batteries they're trying out now that they've had them in the past, but they had a lot of problems with shorting out over time, not lasting long enough. I mean, there's so many different types of batteries out there that they can use that they're trying out. And who knows which one you're going to buy and what you're going to be stuck with when it breaks down. And then you're like, oh, gee, my battery's gone. It's going to cost more money than the car's worth. I saw the picture a few months ago in France. There are all these electric cars in the field, just filling the field. And they had been bought by the government for government use. And when the batteries went bad, it cost more money to replace the batteries than the cars are worth. So they junked a whole field full of these electric cars that the French government had bought and had gone bad because the batteries went bad. And now what do you do with the batteries? They just put them in a field and they're sitting there, right? The cars and the batteries. So again, here we go. Electric cars. Are they worth buying today? I say, no, they aren't yet. And have a system that can run through them, make them last, replace them cheaply enough. I mean, you got to understand, this isn't like my little lithium-ion batteries for the camera I'm filming you with now, right? They're huge things. They cost a fortune to replace. They weigh, many of them over 1,000 pounds. You're never going to be able to do those things cheaply. They're huge. They're expensive to build, and they'll never be able to make them super cheap because they're too big. And then when they go bad, it's going to be your penny that's paying to replace the gigantic batteries that didn't last as long as they claimed they were going to last. Mustang breaking my wallet says I'm getting bad fuel economy. I got a 2008 Mustang 4-liter, 131,000 miles. I replaced accelerator, throttle body, all 4 oxygen sensors, air filter, 3 fuel injectors, spark plug wires, all the wiring. It still rumbles and gets horrible gas mileage. I'm averaging 14 miles a gallon with my V6 engine. 14 miles a gallon for a V6 engine is absolute crap, unless you're driving it really hard. Mustangs have a tendency in the real world to get horrible gas mileage. You're saying 14 miles a gallon. I'm assuming you're driving in the city, right? I'd like to know what you get on the highway. If you get really horrible gas mileage like that on the highway, you got a serious problem, because that's horrendous. Now, if you're getting 14 miles a gallon in the city in a Mustang, that's what a lot of people are going to get. If you drive fast, stop, slam on the brakes, step on the gas, zoom around. They're not very good gas mileage cars. They're not made for that. Mustangs have always been gas hogs. Even with the V6 engines, they're somewhat gas hogs. If you get horrible gas mileage on the highway too, something's wrong with your vehicle. Now, it does say that I can also smell gas when you're idling. Well, you've got a problem. It's not running right. If you smell gas when you're idling and the fumes coming out, it's not burning them efficiently. Now, you said you replaced 3 of the injectors. Why? I would have replaced all 6. You changed 3 are old, 3 are new? No. You got to change all 6 first. I would start by changing the other 3 and see what happens. Anybody that changed 3 fuel injectors for you, they're foolhardy. They got to be all matched together. You need new is the only way I ever go. You get rebuilt ones, you don't know if they were rebuilt right. You get new ones, they're all the same. They're new, right? You get rebuilt ones, you don't know if they were rebuilt right, and you got 6 of them. The odds of all 6 being rebuilt exactly the same are slim to none. So I would start by having 6 brand new fuel injectors put in. Now, if you bought 3 brand new ones and not remanufactured, you could leave those 3 brand new ones and buy 3 of the same exact brand new ones and put them in. Start there. That's where I'd start if I were you. Acura says, I have a grinding sound. What could it be? I got an Acura CL, 350,000 miles. I make a grinding noise in cycles as the wheel spins. Sometimes when I turn, it makes the noise loudest when I'm turning. Mechanic changed the rear brake pads but didn't fix it. What could it be? Okay, well, I can just about guarantee your wheel bearings. He changed the brakes. The wheel bearings are worn. You got 350,000 miles. Wheel bearings wear out. And on that Acura, you buy the whole hub. The hub and the wheel bearing is assembly. So anybody can do it. You don't need a machine press to press the old bearings off and press the new ones on. The hub and the bearing is one assembly. It's just on bolts from the back. The new ones bolt on. You put the brakes back on and away you go. It's actually a really simple job that anybody can do. And I'd advise changing both of them. You got 350,000 miles. You might as well just change both sides. If you do hear a lot of noise when you jack it up and spin it on the one side, not the other, you could change the bad side and then see what happens. See how long it lasts. Because you never know. A lot of times one side might hit big potholes and the other didn't, because the potholes were more on one side than the other. And so that side will wear out faster than the other. You never know. Although it is a pretty good idea to change them in pairs. If your rear one goes out, you change both rear ones. If a front one wears out, you change both front ones. That's a better way of doing it. Chaka says, I got 2012 Honda Pilot with a fouled out spark plug. It's 208,000 miles. I have cylinder one misfire. It was fouled out. I changed all the spark plugs, and now the code comes back, and they're saying, oh, I need a new engine. It's all worn out. Now I want to give it to my 16-year-old son. Both of my sons totaled the first cars that I got for him. So generally, son's first car isn't going to last that long anyways. I would just say keep changing that spark plug. I'd had customers in Houston's for decades that had junky cars, and I would just say bring it in once a year and I'll change your spark plugs. And then they drive it, and then when it started to run crappy, I'd change them again. And you can generally go years. If it ever does completely blow that piston and goes out, then you junk the car because the engine's shot. You're not going to put money in engine in a 208,000 mile Honda. It wouldn't be cost effective. It costs too much money for a good engine. Many, many thousands of dollars. But spark plugs are cheap. Change it out. It keeps burning it out. Sometimes you can go years that way. And like I say, he's a 16-year-old. He'll probably wipe the thing out. It's his first car anyway, so you might as well give him something that isn't worth all that much money because it's going to be wiped out anyways. And if you keep changing that spark plug, it could last quite some time. I've seen people go years that way. Count 67 says, I got a problem with my Chevy flex pipes. I got 2000 Chevy Equinox. I had to replace the flex pipe. We also have a 2016 Chevy Spark that has the flex pipe starting to go. Why do they use flex pipes? The exhaust is mounted on rubber hangers. There's a way to get people back into the dealerships. Okay, well, they have to have flex pipes because they're transverse engines, and when you accelerate and start the car, the engine's going to move a little. If they didn't didn't have a flex pipe there, it would snap off eventually. The metal would just get fatigued and it would snap off. Hence, it's called a flex pipe, so it can be a little bit flexible. So the engine can move a little, you hit bumps and stuff, and the exhaust system is on rubber hangers. So as they give, if you didn't have a flex pipe that can go flexed, it would eventually snap right off. And you're complaining about them going out now. That's 7 years later, right? If you didn't have a flex pipe, they'd break long before then. They gotta flex or they'll snap off. It's why they're called flex pipes. They allow the flexibility. Most cars are built with them today, or they will snap off. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.